All right, our next presenter is Patty Grantham. Patty holds a Bachelor of Forest Science degree from the University of Washington College of Forest Resources. Patty spent more than 40 years working with the U.S. Forest Service in a wide range of technical and leadership positions, including 13 years as the forest supervisor of the Klamath National Forest. She concluded her career with the Forest Service as the acting national director for fire and aviation management. Patty has extensive experience in natural resource management with a strong focus on wildfire prevention, response, and strategic hazardous fuels reduction planning and implementation. In January 2024, she joined the Shasta Valley RCD as a project manager, where she now leads coordination for the Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association, focusing on public outreach, partner and landowner engagement, and grant management. Please join me in welcoming Patty Grantham.
Oh, you know what? So she's asking me if I want to use the clicker. I have a clicker right there.
Perfect.
His name's Aaron. I watched all those experts yesterday, like, it's like, that's going to blow up in my hand. We're not doing that. So feels a little like old home week with Nadine Bailey and Rick Costales here and me. So, yeah. That's great. But thank you very much, Molly, for that nice introduction. As Molly mentioned, I joined the Shasta Valley RCD as a Prescribed Burn Association coordinator back in January, and Dan Blessing, some of you might know Dan. He kind of, I was retired again. Oh, Dan's in the back. Oh my God, Dan! It is old home week. So yeah. Anyway, he caught me in the parking lot one day and said, "Hey, I got this thing that I got going on. Why don't you come over and try it?" It's like a kind of an interesting thing to do, kind of a good gig. And I tell you what, it's turned out to be a great gig, Dan. So good for us. And I'm really sorry that the nice California conservation crew isn't here today. I don't know if you caught them. They were sitting in the back yesterday. And I think they have Fridays off. They're not like disinterested in this. I think they're just off. But this is a picture that I took of them burning some blackberry brush piles as part of the restoration of the new 263 bridge on the Klamath River. And anyway, kind of like this picture. So it'd be great. So go ahead, Aaron. So when I tell people what I'm doing now, I know that they want to ask the question. So what exactly is that that you're doing? What's a Prescribed Burn Association? And I really, frankly, I've struggled with my elevator speech, And so, but I kind of, what do we do? What do people of my age do? Well, we go to Google, and we say, all right, so what's the array of definitions out there? And so there's a few of them up there. But I mean, really what a Prescribed Burn Association is, it's a group of people that get together that want to affect burning on private property. Except when it's people and organizations. And except when it's people and organizations and agencies. And except when it also includes public lands. So it's a pretty fluid definition. And that's one of the things that I really like about it. In California, I think that there's 27 PBA kinds of things. I think there's 130 nationally, 22 states. They're called different things in California: Fire Alliance, Underburn Cooperative. What are some other names? Shout them out. People I know, Sam Camardo. Okay. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, so they go by a lot of different names. Some are nonprofits. Some you have, organized, kind of gone to that 501(c) kind of a thing. I think the best way to describe the Siskiyou PBA is that we're a club. So there's no membership dues. Anybody can join. anybody can pitch in. Let's see, let's go to the next one. Well, why don't you go back to the other one? Did I leave something out? No, I did. Go ahead. So the mission of the Siskiyou, this is like the only slide I'm gonna read, swear to God. So the mission of the Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association is to facilitate and support beneficial burning in and around Siskiyou County through education, training, leadership, collaboration, and coordination, and by providing equipment, expertise, and other material support to the community. So that's a real mouthful, but I think it's a really good mission statement, and it really captures kind of what we're going for here. And I just had to put that salmon photo in there because it showed up twice yesterday, and you know, it's a great photo. It needs to go in there, and I really appreciate, you know, Nadine's comments about you know, healthy streams, water quality and quantity, you know, really is dependent on the health of the uplands. And in our neck of the woods, the health of the uplands is really dependent on, you know, low intensity frequent fire happening there. So perfect bridge to rip off that photo. Okay. So, you know, there's a huge treacherous trench in front of me because there's like 6 people in this room that could talk about the history of the Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association that would actually know what they're talking about, you know, as opposed to me. But as far as I can peel this onion, looking at you, Sharna, is that our own Sharna Gilmore was really the one who got the ball rolling on this. Betsy Stapleton, who and Betsy. Yeah, Lindsay's here. Yeah. Yeah, Will. Yeah.
Valley Indian Reservation.
Yeah, those are all the things. But so the story that I got was really like kind of in the 2000 teens. You know, as far as a PBA kind of a model being adopted in this area, that Sharna got that ball moving, you know, with respect to kind of Scott Valley-ish. And then of course, you know, anybody from Mickwick here? That's too bad. But I think most people are familiar with Mickwick has an extensive burning program. They have really, you know, something very robust. They've got quite the portfolio going down there. So they kind of, and that was ever since I've been in this area in 2000. I came in 2007. So, I mean, they've sort of had their own PBA model for quite some time. Anyway, so lots of things kind of rolled up. I think the Scott Valley RCD, you know, decided to support a coordinator and, you know, went after some support for that kind of thing. And ended up with Lindsay right there. You can have the microphone anytime you want, hon. Okay. All right, there we go. But that's kind of how we you know, arrived where we are today. So not to make your eyes roll up in your head a little bit, but I'm going to touch on governance. You know, Sharna, she listed these 5 organizations. You know, in different ways. They all pushed for the formation of the Prescribed Burn Association. Now they have a representative on the steering committee for the SPBA, kind of the big picture, kind of moving ahead. I didn't know where really to stick this next part, but I'll go ahead and stick it here. And that is, I wear 2 hats with respect to the Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association. So one hat is kind of being the coordinator in terms of these different groups and kind of what they're doing in terms of burning or vegetation reduction in neighborhoods or what they aspire to be. And you know, we aspire to get together a couple times a year. I'm overdue and trying to get that going right now. My coordinator duties, but you know, we try to communicate and support each other, you know, as best we can. And on really magical days, we get together and burn things. But you know, there's not a whole lot of those, but anyway, the other hat I wear as a project manager for the Shasta Valley RCD in terms of bringing forward burning projects for the RCD to execute. There's not a big, thank you for that 5 minutes. There's not a big, there's not a lot of hard geography going here. You know, Sharna's got a lot of stuff going here in the valley. You know, Will and Eric Dara, you know, downriver got a lot of stuff going on. The Shasta Valley RCD's got a lot of stuff kind of on the Shasta Valley side. You know, there's kind of areas of influences or emphasis rather. But those boundaries aren't like hard and fast. They're pretty permeable when it makes sense for us to do different kinds of things. Next one. So just talking a little bit about, I think that there has been some success. I think that there's been success in terms of SPBA. So implementing, you know, grants, getting out there and burning, developing new proposals. We're online to develop a catalog of burn plans to be used by landowners. That's going to be pretty, handy. Sam Camardo's here. He's helping us with that. Really, it comes down to this whole knitting with other agencies and organizations to kind of outreach and get things done. And I think Chris Gentry's here. We've been talking about some landowner prescribed fire training in terms of the Forest Service, working with CAL FIRE and some other things. We continue to outreach and making burning opportunities available to volunteers through the PBA. Challenges, you know, it's always about the money, right? The ability to support. There's a lot of need, as you can imagine, in this neck of the woods. Literally, there's a lot of need out there, and working with landowners, doing the best that we can. I put up there specifically this California Prescribed Fire Burn Boss local capacity. Again, Sam Camardo's in the back there. He is a certified CAREX. It's great that we have him in this area. There's a couple of other ones. I can foresee us running over what we have pretty quickly if we really get up on step with what we want to do. And this is a great program, you know, in a nutshell. It's folks that are certified by the state fire marshal that have access to state liability insurance coverage for projects that they put together for landowners. So it's a nice bridge. So I think that the view of prescribed fire in general is let's see, it's not so much the view as it's geez, how are we going to pay for that, getting that work done out there? I think that dynamic is changing a little bit because people are really seeing what the value is in terms of forest resilience, community protection, you know, water quality and quantity, all kinds of resource issues that come along with high severity fire, and kind of getting out of that game as much as we can. So I can't thank enough all of the partners that are out there that have, you know, opened their doors and really embraced the PBA idea and continue to pester them at regular intervals. I kind of run the other way sometimes, I think, when they see me coming, but building the program, I am very optimistic about it, and I'm so good with 1 minute left. And so there we go. There's some of those great days out there, burning little collage up there. That is it for me for today. I definitely came for the eggs. If I did another 15 minutes, would you give me another dozen?
Well, thank you, Patty. Just a question. It seems like burn bosses are always in kind of short supply. Is there any way we have some Forest Service people here? to maybe use some Forest Service experienced people and CAL FIRE people as actual burn bosses on some of these prescribed burns?
So typically in, Chris Jeffrey and the other, I can take the mic, thank you. So the reason that the state fire marshal certification was developed was to give more flexibility to this private land burning that was kind of in the gap. Because we have people that can burn on public lands. We have CAL FIRE burn bosses that can burn on private lands typically, typically those are larger kinds of projects. And so I wouldn't say no, but I would understand the reluctance of agency people. I think that there's a reluctance, and it's well-founded, with agency people coming over to do this kind of small landowner, private land work just from a liability standpoint. Because they have qualifications, but they don't have the agency standing behind them. I mean, that's the difference with CAL FIRE and with the Forest Service and Park Service and other, agencies when they have to burn, is that they have the agency behind them when they're doing that. They, short of procuring their own liability insurance, doing some other kinds. I can see where there's a reluctance. That was probably like way too much information. I'm sorry, Michael.
I'm just saying they could still have all the liability, and it's just kind of a liaison with the private.
Liaison with the private, just trying to get more burn bosses out there. But
Yeah. Bird boss to me is like a capital B, a capital B, a capital B. You want to say something?
I'll just say that the short answer is yes, there's ways to make that happen. There's creative agreements. It's definitely possible, but at the end of the day, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's a capacity issue in the Forest Service and private landowners, private burn bosses, CAL FIRE. There's a reason that the program exists, like Patty said. It's a capacity issue across the board. So if we have Chris leading burns on private land, he might not be doing work on his district. We need more people. I think we can do some creative things like that, but at the end of the day, we need just more capacity.
Can you give Chris the mic? Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to tag on to that. We are working on some of this stuff. I've been in contact with Patty, with Sam, and these ideas are being floated around. Just so you know, Michael, that there is an avenue where you can get on CAL FIRE's website and apply for a permit, and they'll send out a representative to look at your burn. And depending on staffing levels and whatnot, there is the ability for them to potentially send you, say, a couple of fire engines. And you could do the burning on your property legally without a burn boss. And then typically the issue that's arising, like Sam's saying, it's a liability issue. So, but there is resources out there. And then what we're working on kind of behind the scenes, big picture, is getting all of the people in the basin that burn in a professional capacity together and creating some resources. So we have an idea on how to get the information out to one subcategory would be the general public, and then putting on stuff to increase their education capabilities and abilities in that avenue. And then also kind of my thought with some of that is working with people that do burn on a professional level, working more direct with the state. The state's ramping up their burn program, and they came to us seeking out information because we have been burning more for longer. And so they're trying to learn from our mistakes. And then also it's a good relationship for us because we can learn with what they're doing. So it's in its infancy, but those conversations are happening, and we're really hoping to provide a really good product for our community.
Thank you.